Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. If this is your first time here to the channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, a YouTube subscriber, or an alternative tech follower, I want to thank all of you guys for your continued support.
All right, guys, so this is from last Wednesday, but very pivotal to point out as we move through the stack of stuff we have today for the Friday vlog. Great to have you guys along, by the way. So the Sun here in the U.S. writes, BLM Capitol siege. BLM storms Oklahoma State Capitol to confront lawmakers over anti-riot bill and scream, "You're an effing disgrace." So what they're upset about is the fact that these bills that will be introduced will essentially put them in jeopardy as protesters if they damage property, if they set things on fire, if they do things that are criminal. Yes, they'll actually be arrested. How about that? They are so accustomed to having DAs letting them go that now when they pass actual laws that target their behavior, they're upset. Black Lives Matter protesters crashed Oklahoma's House of Representatives on Wednesday. That was the 22nd last week, while it was in session to pass controversial bill. I don't know why they call it a controversial bill. It's a bill that is going to ensure that when these people trespass, damage, set fire, assault, use fireworks, and all the things that they do, they will be arrested. And as you can see here, from Oklahoma's News 4 NBC in Oklahoma, protesters gathered at Oklahoma Capitol objecting to a slew of bills. Oh yes, they objected. Why don't, aren't these the same people that were saying that here in Georgia that we were denying people the ability to vote? But apparently they know how to get to the Capitol. They know how to get around. They know how to organize. They know how to meet up with one another. So why don't they use these same abilities? Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me explain to you, because as a Georgian, I can tell you right now that if someone goes online, goes to the post office, goes to the library, goes to their city hall to look for an application to either to apply for a mail-in ballot or for an absentee ballot, they can just as easily apply for an ID. There is nothing being denied. Yes, there is a process. Yes, there is actual effort involved in voting in our state. Yeah, imagine that. So I asked you, if you are not for IDs and for the integrity of the election, does that not mean that you are for a potential rigged election, a fixed election, as it were? I'm probably going to get demonetized for having used the word rigged. But nonetheless, so they're upset in Oklahoma because there's going to be a bill that specifically targets rioters, basically. So here in Portland, Fox News, Portland's Democrat mayor begs public to help unmask members of self-described anarchist mob? Anarchist mob? Wait a minute. They were able to say BLM here. They were able to say BLM here, but the Portland mayor can't say BLM? Can't say Black Bloc? Can't say Antifa? Ted Wheeler, right? Ted Wheeler called Friday for the city's residents to assist authorities in their efforts to unmask members of the self-described anarchist mob? Are you kidding me? Wheeler, are you kidding me, dude? You mean to tell me that after an entire year next month, you can't identify BLM, Black Bloc, and Antifa? All of a sudden, you remember how resistant Wheeler was? Remember how resistant many of these mayors like Lori Lightfoot and many others throughout the U.S. There in Michigan, her name eludes me at the moment, all resisted the president's effort to help these cities out. I was going to say these particular cities. And yet here they are. Here's Wheeler asking for assistance. Could it be because during the riots of the whole year we had last year in 2020, it was Trump's America? Remember that? It was Trump's America. And they were outraged because of what was going on in our country. No, they weren't. They were outraged because they like outrage. They like chaos because that's how they manipulate people. They keep everybody walking on eggshells. Gretchen Whitmer. It was who I was trying to think of there. All right, so switching over to sports, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Taking a knee banned by International Olympic Committee. How about that? The global body that oversees the Olympic Games has announced that any athletes making political gestures at the event will be punished. And you know how these individual groups like the Democrats here in the United States, but particularly in foreign countries, they love the word punishment because they like the word punishment and they like to punish. But nonetheless, I found it interesting, and that the rules is the will of most athletes involved. That is very curious. Did they ask the American athletes, particularly the female soccer team? Just curious. Major League Baseball. Go woke, get broke, as the saying goes. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. I know I'm not trying to set a record for how many times I can say that. MLB is now asking fans their political affiliation at the stadium. Yes, they are indeed. Major League Baseball was badly burned when the league unwisely chose to move the annual All-Star Game out of Atlanta, here in beautiful Atlanta, by the way, after being pressured by Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Yes, Joe Biden, ladies and gentlemen. Would it be fair to say that Joe Biden is actually trying to divide the country, pitting the Americans against the police, pitting Americans against the idea, or has suggested that we are suffering from systemic racism? Is that not divisive? To come out and say the United States is suffering from systemic racism. That means that there is one side who apparently is racist and another side that is the victim of racism. So that's two different ideologies and philosophies that he is pitting against one another. What's Joe Biden's position? Should we guess? Is he one of the arbiters of the moral authority that we hear about? The self-righteous, virtuous, wokeness, social justice warrior. Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, can you believe this? Today, as of this recording, April the 28th, on Wednesday, Rudy Giuliani's Upper East Side apartment and law office raided by the FBI. What happened to what we knew about when it came to the FBI and Hunter Biden and the big guy? Oh, that's right. The big guy was running for president, so the establishment couldn't have anyone speaking badly about the big guy. FBI agents raid Rudy Giuliani's Manhattan apartment and law office Wednesday as part of an ongoing investigation into his business dealing in Ukraine, his attorney confirmed. What about the Hunter Biden dealings in the Ukraine? Now, I just wanted to point something out that I read partly in this article. I believe it's right here. Reps for the Southern District of New York and FBI declined comment. Giuliani's attorney Bob Costello said in a statement that the raid at dawn was unnecessary and another example of Trump's disagreement syndrome, or Trump derangement syndrome. Sorry guys, I'm having trouble seeing the article. I should have magnified the wording here. Giuliani's electronics were seized during the search, he said. Now, that wasn't really the part I wanted to read. There was a section of it that was talking about how difficult it is. So, in South District of New York, under any administration, you do not get search warrants easily. And you definitely do not get it easily when there's potential attorney-client privilege involved, especially this high profile. Unless it's the Biden administration. Unless it's the Biden administration and the establishment, said Westchester County District Attorney Mimi Roach. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Roach. Who previously served as federal prosecutor at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. That is correct. The establishment is able to allow the FBI to raid Rudy Giuliani's office, just like they did with the president when they were doing the whole Russia gate. Sad. Now, I don't know if you guys follow me on social media, and if you aren't, you should, because below this video I have various links to my social media sites. You guys should follow me there because I post BuzWeaver's Picks of the Day, usually involving movies and TV shows definitely worth checking out. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen Falcon and Winter Soldier, or if you're Marvel fans or familiar with the MCU or any of that sort of thing. I'm not going to spoil much of this, but it was hilarious that after the Gina Carano story that broke when all the people left Disney Plus because of the outrage of how they treated Gina Carano. We've covered her for quite some time here on the channel. But anyway, the left lost its collective mind because they went after... I'm trying to word this without giving too many spoilers away. They went after what would be perceived as the left's kind of agitators and activists that we have heard about for quite some time. You know, the groups of people that Wheeler can't say? So there's a group of these particular characters in the show. They're called the Flag Marchers, I believe. I don't want to give too much of it away, but anyway, so apparently the characters in the story go anti-woke, and it just irritated the writers of Inverse here, and of course the woke, because they're thinking to themselves, wait a minute, why are the bad guys being portrayed, or why are the good guys being portrayed as the bad guys? So I just thought it was kind of amusing. I'll share this story with you guys. If you want to look these up, I would suggest that you just go to Inverse and then look it up by the heading, because I don't want to give these guys the links, of course, for the clicks, and of course I could archive it. But if you guys do want to read the particular articles, then by all means you can. But I would suggest that you guys follow me on social media by all means, because I do post daily and I have these sorts of stories. But I want to kind of bring you kind of a hodgepodge of different stories this particular week.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. If you haven't already, please avail yourself to the links below this video. Those are going to be to my various social medias and alternative tech sites that you guys can follow me on. And of course, appearing on the screen, that would be the YouTube channel icon that you can click on to subscribe, as well as to indicate the notifications that you would like to receive, so you know when there is content here on the channel. And of course, I will see all of you guys right there behind that camera next week.